Okay, so I make this recording to help you understand about assignment for module number 2, right? Because in the assignment, some of you raise a question that what you are supposed to do with this one. Do you have to work with hierarchy chart, or do you have to work with a flow chart here? So here's my answer. Basically, for the assignment, right, you have to work with both hierarchy chart and flow chart here. So what is a hierarchy chart? Hierarchy chart is when you will with the modularization, right? So think about it. You have a program and you want to break it down into the multiple module, right? That is the case. You work with the hierarchy chart here. So the hierarchy chart show you the relation between the module, right? Think about you have the slide here, right? So you can see in the program here, you have the main program, right? You have a main program and you break it down into the 3 module here. You have housekeeping, you have detail loop, and you have end of job. But again, it's up to you, right? It's up to you. You can break it down into whatever module you want, right? Think about you have the housekeeping and detail loop and end of job. And again, for housekeeping, break it down into the another module. In the detail loop, you break it down into the another module here, and so on here. You have for the complicated program, right? You have many level of module here, and you can see the relationship and the connection between them, right? So we see in the detail loop, you will call the two module here, process order and get order, and in the process order, again, you call for check inventory, check credit, and so on here. And uh, if you read the textbook or you watch my recording, you see that one of the benefits of modularization is that it make it more structured, right? It make it more understandable and more comprehensive here. So if you have a complicated program, you can break it down into module here. And another benefit of the module is that when you define it, you can use it again and again here, right? And you can break it down into multiple group, right? Each of them, they work with specific module here. A lot of benefit when work with the modularization. So here's the thing, right? You use hierarchy charts when you work with modularization, right? It's a step in the design step here. You break it down. So basically for the mainline logic, right? Normally for the mainline logic program here, you can break it down into housekeeping where you initialize the variable, right? And for the detail loop, you keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and until the condition is not true, right? Okay, and end of job is when you done with your program here. Okay, so again, it's up to you, right? You do not always have to break it down into the housekeeping or detail loop and end of job here. But again, that is a most common structure when you work with the mainline logic here. So basically, I think about this one here. I have a program, right? I have a program here. Uh, yeah, let me put the program here, right? I have a program here, and the purpose of program here, the purpose of program here, I get the number from user and multiply multiple multi that number by 2 and print out uh, the answer. Keep doing until user and the number 0. Okay, think about that. It's very simple program, right? So you know that is a you know that is program, right? You need to use the loop here because you keep doing it until user enter number 0, right? So for this one, this one also, I can use the mainline logic. I break it down with the housekeeping here, right? I break it down with housekeeping here. So I have start, and of course I have stop here, right? Or I am here. Now, in the main program here, I have declaration. Okay, so this one is very simple for this program, right? I know that I need input from user. It is a number here, right? In number format, so I put number, and also I need to print it out the answer. Again, it is a number format, the answer here, right? So it's very simple program. I have the two variable here, and now declaration. After that, I want to break it down into housekeeping, right? Housekeeping here. So what is it? The housekeeping here. So we see in my main program here, right? The housekeeping here, that is a process I call for the module housekeeping, right? And you know that when I call for the module housekeeping, I have to define it later here, right? So after the main program here, I have to define it here. What is the housekeeping here? Actually, the housekeeping here, I need to initialize the number, right? I need to initialize the number here. So what I do with the housekeeping, here, I need to get input here, right? So I use the prompt here, input, output, enter number, enter 0 to exit, right? Okay, so that is the process. I have the prompt and I input here. I store into the variable name number. Right, so that process of the housekeeping here. Of course, I have return here. Right, every time you define for module, you will return. We have return here. Okay, so the purpose of housekeeping actually I just get the number to in order to go to the loop here, right? So now I go to the loop. Y number is not equal to 0. That means I keep doing it, right? Why the number is not equal to 0? I do it here, right? I have answer equal to number times 2, right? And of course, you know that the process in the case the loop here, right? You know that for every loop, right? You need to get a new number, otherwise it will be the endless loop here, right? So again, I need to get a new number here, otherwise any loops, right? So if you watch my recording, I explain the process of mainline logic, and it's very clear here. Okay, so what is it? Detail loop, right? Actually, yeah. Why he have? I call it here. Actually, I don't do it. I don't want to be here, right? I just actually I do it later here. Okay, and this one, why it call sorry, why number is not 0? I call for module. I call for the module. What's the name here? Detail loop. Okay, that's the process. I call the module, right? And of course, for the n, I have n here for the y and y here. Okay, and now I use another. Module n absorb here, right? And absorb here. Okay, so here's my main program, right? That is my start and stop here main program. I have declaration. I call for the module housekeeping, right? So remember when I call it, I have to define it, right? I already had defined here. So if number is not equal to 0, I call for detail loop module, right? When I call it, I have to define it, right? That's why I have to define it later here. Right? So in what I need to do in the detail loop, right? I just double the number, right? And sorry, I need to print it out also, right? I need to print it out. Yeah, output the number after double is right. I put the answer here. Sorry. Okay. Now I print it out, right? And in order to go on with the loop, I need to get a new number, right? So if I enter 0, I exit the loop. If not, I keep doing it here. Okay. So I have return here. Remember for module, you have return, right? Okay. Now in the program also, I define, sorry, I call for the end of job. That's why I need to define it also, right? That's why I need to define it also. And what I do with the end of job here, right? Output. I just print it out here, right? You did a good job. Oh, yeah. Okay, and return. Okay, so now how you translate your program, right? So that is my hierarchy chart for my main program, right? I break it down in three modules: housekeeping, detail loop, and end of job, right? And in my program here, where my program? Here in my main program here, right? I have the main program, I have declaration, right? I call for the housekeeping. What is housekeeping? I define it here, right? I initialize the number. And now after the number, I check if the number is not equal to 0. I go to the detail loop. What's the detail loop here? I just double the number. I print it out. I get a new number, right? So what is it? After the return, right? After the return, the check again. The number is not equal to 0. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it until enter the number 0, right? And after enter the number 0, you exit the loop and you go to the end of job. You call for end of job. So what you did to do the end of job? You just print it out here, right? You did a good job and congrats here, right? So that is the pseudocode of this program, right? And if you work with the flow chart here, right? And if you work with the flow chart for my program, right? You can see I can translate it here from the pseudocode to the flow chart, right? I have start here, right? And after that, I have the declaration, right? Declaration here. So basically, I think I can copy it here, right? I can copy declaration here. I paste it here. Okay. I think for the tag here, I can go with this one, right? Or if I want, I can bold it here, right? So that a declaration, of course, you need to draw it here, right? Okay. So now you go to the housekeeping, right? Because you see, you have to go to the housekeeping here. So it's a module, right? It's a module. That is a module here. You have the rectangle with two bar here, right? You call for the housekeeping. Okay, so when you call the housekeeping, that means that is a process, right? You have to define it here, right? You have to define. So what you do with housekeeping? You need to get the output. Yeah, sorry, you get the input here, right? So you have another here, the housekeeping here, right? Okay, so in the housekeeping, actually, you just process to get input here, right? Okay, that is a problem, right? And after that, you have the input here. You start in the variable name here. Okay, and you have return, right? Remember that you have return here. Okay, and of course you need to have the arrow here, right? So I don't want to spend time to do the arrow here. It's very time consuming here, but in your program, you should do it, right? So see that process here. In my main program, I call the housekeeping. I have to define what I do with the housekeeping. I get the input from the number here, right? So when I got the number here, I go to the loop, right? Because you see, I got the loop here. That's the loop, right? So we do the loop. That means you have the condition here to check, right? You have the condition here to check if number, check here, number equal to 0 or not. Right? If number is not equal to 0, that means you keep doing it, right? You keep doing it with the detail loop here, right? So again, this is a module, so I call for detail loop here, detail loop. Okay, that is a loop, right? So that's a loop. That means you go back again and again and again, do it again and again, right? So that's why I need to have this here, right? I need this one. I need this one. All right. The loop here, the loop that means you go back to do it again and again, right? So for the loop here, I can do this way, can do this way, and I can do this way. All right. That's a loop. You keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it until, right? And of course, when you do it, right, you have the condition here. If yes, that means number not equal to 0, you keep doing it, right? If no, you go to the end of job here, right? So now you go to the end of job. No here, right? Now you call for the module end of job here. Remember what I do here? End of job, right? So it also have to be consistent with the name of the module here. And of course, the last thing I have and here, I'll stop here, right? So you see, that is my main program, right? I have declaration. I call for the housekeeping, I define it here, right? And now, after the got the number, I check the number is not equal to 0, right? I go to detail loop, you go with again and again and again until the number is 0, right? You end the job. And of course, you see, when in the main program, I call for detail loop, I need to define it also, right? So I need to define for detail loop here. Loop, right? Detail loop 2L here. All right. So you can open it. What did I do with the detail loop? I have the assignment here, right? I have assignment here. That is processing, right? So I go on this way. I paste it here, right? And what else? I have after that I print it out, right? I print it out. So here's the print it out. All right. I print it out. I have output here. Actually, I just copy it, right? I just copy it here. Paste it here. Okay, and after that, I need to get a new number in order to go back to the loop, right? Otherwise, in this endless loop here, right? So I have the prompt here. I paste it. I copy exactly the same, right? And I paste it here. And of course, I have action to store into the variable here, right? That is input number here. And first, I have return here, right? Return. Okay, and of course, I need to use a arrow here to interconnect them together, right? But I don't want to waste, I don't want to spend too much time on that one. So in the program, make sure you do it here. So we see, I have housekeeping here already, right? I have detail loop here already. Now the last step here, I have to define for end of job, right? So again, I have the end of job here. All right. End of job here. What did they do the end of job? Actually, it is the output only, right? So I just have the output here and I copy it. I copy it here and I paste it. And I have return here. Okay, make sure you interconnect them with the arrow here. Right, so here in my program, right, this is the hierarchy chart here because I tell the user here that in my program, I break it down into 3 modules, right? Housekeeping, a digital loop, and end of job. The name here doesn't matter, right? You can put whatever name makes sense here. But again, I do the same with this one here, right? So in hierarchy chart, in the design step here, I break it down in 3 modules, right? So in the flowchart, I have main program here, and in main program, I call for housekeeping. When I call for housekeeping, I have to define it here, right? This is housekeeping here, right? And again, when I got the number here, I check if number not equal to 0, I go to detail loop, right? You keep doing it here. So when I call for detail loop, I have to divide here, right? I have to divide here. And now after the user enters the number 0, right? Go to the end of job, call for end of job, I have to divide here, right? So you think for this program, right? For this program here, I did it with you. I did it with you both in the hierarchy chart, and also I did it with you in the flow chart here, right? So I hope you understand the concept now. Thank you.